I remember a big warehouse. I remember, just big tanks all over the place, a forklift, tons of stuff going on all the time, people coming and going. I remember going to put pennies on the railroad track a couple of blocks down when we were stuck there in the summertime and bored. Every now and again, a new memory kind of pops into my head, but the main staples are pretty much just hanging out a lot up there during the summertime, spending time with Max and Sam up there, trying to kill time and just kind of trying to figure out what was going on when we really had no idea what was going on.
I remember we had a jet ski down in the basement. I remember that. I think that's like the extent of it. I was maybe 2 at the time, 2 or 3, maybe to 4 by the end days of it. And I don't have a lot of recollection. I just remember we spent a lot of time there and my dad seemed to enjoy it.
All my memories are like stories or like Bosque Brewery memorabilia, like of the Bosque Brewery letterman,
the big sign,
and like the old neon, like the big metal sign. Yeah, that's like mostly what I remember. I mean, it was relevant in the sense that it's like it felt like a kind of like a trade, and not like felt like more blue collar. So I think maybe I took something away from that more so than like the entrepreneurial aspect of it. But
and you are a craftsman today, yes?
Yeah, I'd say so.
And do you think that's related?
I don't know, not necessarily, but I think it's like something that is inspiring in a way.
I think Dad was that kind of guy. I don't remember much about the brewery, but Dad always had that entrepreneurial spirit. He just would get into something as a hobby and would turn it into something he could make money off of. He got into motorcycles for a while, ended up selling them all for a bunch of money. He got into airplanes, built an airplane in our garage, ended up selling it to a guy after it was complete. It's just something that he did. He found a hobby that he liked and he found a way to make a little coin off of it, right? So I think that at heart is an entrepreneurial spirit from within, you know what I mean?
It makes you think that, if you can have a successful career in banking and then just one day wake up and think, well, I'm really good at this other thing, maybe I should just go try that. That takes a lot of courage and it takes a lot of, not even know-how, but just want to be able to want to get up and go brew beer at 4 a.m., every single day, 7 days a week and without a day off and, with 3 young kids. And I mean, it's hard and it took a lot, of want to, I think. And I think that might have, rubbed off on us a little bit and kind of gave us the gumption and the mental fortitude to kind of go about our different career paths and where we've all been and kind of, figure out our own way and how we want to live our lives. And I think that was a big kind of stepping stone for that.
I just know he really wanted me to finish college, and I was just like, sorry, dog. No, I haven't and can't do it. That's the biggest one that comes to mind for me.
Do what makes you happy. I know that's very cliche, but seeing that in motion, I mean, I was still young when Dad had his brewery, but I think I was old enough to kind of sift through some of that and kind of pick things out that I can look back now and at that moment in time I might have thought nothing of it, but now at 34 years old I feel like I might have taken more from that than I would have initially thought. And do what makes you happy. Again, waking up, having a successful career and just saying, what, I don't think this is where I want to be right now. I want to be over here, and just going out and doing it and just doing your best to make a living, and whether that be blue collar, white collar, salary job, hourly job, it doesn't matter. If you're happy and you're doing what makes you happy, at the end of the day, life kind of has a way sometimes of figuring itself out.
I can kind of agree with that, doing what makes you happy. I did a similar thing to Dad. I kind of left my job. I had a good job and career and just dropped it all to start my own company. Took a leap of faith. It didn't work out. It not always does, but it was a good life experience. And, like I like to say, everything happens for a reason sometimes, right? So it got me to where I am now, and I can't complain about that. So I think maybe I did take some of that from my dad as well, following in his footsteps. I would say not. No, it's not a failure if you learn from it, right? You never learn any. Your greatest lessons are often your failures or mistakes. So take from that what you will.
You learn a lot more from what you do wrong in life than what you do right most of the time. And so, piggybacking off of that, you could have a huge failure per se, but if you learned something and you came out a better person on the other side, it's not really a failure. It's more of just I guess,
It's just life.
yeah, life has its ebbs and flows, and you deal with it as they come, and you come out on the other side a better person.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to college to make him happy. But I mean, in in the long
that
run,
box.
at the time, yeah, it did feel like a failure. But when I did, drop out and stop going to school, he ultimately was like, okay, if that's what you want to do, then by all means. So I'd say.
Dad was never one at the beginning to say, even when he said, we'll pay for your college or whatever, he said, look, if you don't want to go to school, if you don't think school's for you, don't go. You don't have to go. You can do what you want to do in life. And Dad kind of let us make our own mistakes sometimes. And whether he thought it was the right choice or the wrong choice at the time, it was our choice to make. And that was something that, he always kind of stressed with us was, it's not my choice. Here's what I think you should do, but it's your choice to make in the end. So, he gave us the right to kind of choose our own path, and we all kind of got to where we are in different ways.
He was big on, he would say, he'd give you advice, listen, and give you advice, but at the end of it say, but this is your life, this is your choice, and you need to think seriously about what you want to do, because it's not my life. That's what he would say. And I think that's the good way to live, right? I mean, everybody's got to choose their own path and live their own life. So he was pushed that heavily on us. I think that was a daily occurrence at our place. I've got the broken arm to prove it. Yeah.
And tons of cuts and scrapes and bruises to go along with them as well.
Also, you broke your arm on the trampoline on Christmas Day.
Yeah, we had just got it, I think.
I remember that.
The first day you got
Yeah. He double bounced me too high.
I had to do it. But yeah, there were lots of things like that going on when we were growing up,
I think our parents' saying when we were kids was, boys will be boys. You get three boys, it can get a little chaotic, and they would sometimes just have to throw their hands up and say, you know what, boys will be boys.
We'll see you guys on the other side.
Yeah.
This is not something that, you get to do every day. Our dad had a brewery in the mid to late 90s that we thought was over and done with. And, he owned a brewery, super cool. It's a story that I tell a lot of my friends. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, this opportunity comes up, and it's something super cool that you could be a part of. And I think a lot of people, a lot of our friends, a lot of our family, they want to come be supportive and help out and drink some good beer in the process. And I think that's something, that's pretty common throughout a lot of our friendships and a lot of our relationships, is, a lot of our friends want to be supportive. They want to come out and help and have a good time. And I think this is the perfect opportunity to do that. So I think a lot of our people are, jumping on board.
I guess I didn't realize maybe how historic the brewery was as being the first craft brew in Waco. I mean, we always joked like, oh, Dad was before his time because, craft brews have just blown up now. But I didn't realize how historic it was and maybe how many people in the area appreciated it and still to this day think about Bosque Brewing. So it's been very interesting to talk to these people that do this for a living and are interested in commemorating his brew. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I don't know. It's cool just like I said, like it's all my memories are just through like stories and like memorabilia. So it's cool to like experience it a little more firsthand, you know. So that's what's exciting for me.
Cheers, bros.
Cheers.
All right.